Could you hold this?
Sure.
Yeah. Could you hold this stuff?
Okay.
Yeah, and hold it in your hand.
I'm gonna hold all three.
Yeah, and hold this.
Okay. I can't hold that.
Okay. So here's the reason. We keep asking God for things that we can't hold.
Oh, that's good.
We can't hold it.
Yeah.
So, but if I would have prepped myself and held it properly and learned how to hold all these things, I'm able to manage things. So you're praying for things and you're going through things and you get mad at God when he's only giving you what you prayed for. When you ask God for something and you can't hold it, he doesn't want his son to crumble down. So he'll put you through a life where you're able to hold it with ease, to the point where you might not have to be stronger, but you could be wiser, where I'm like, oh, if I stack this, I could put this here.
That's good.
So I always tell people, your God doesn't want to short you, but your shortcomings come from you not wanting to work and humble yourself.
Yeah.
If God says no right now, you shouldn't try to fight your way into it, because, dude, trust me, if the universe can't fight against God, you're not going to be able to fight against God. But if you just go with him and you say, take my feet where you want, you might realize by the time you get there, you don't even want to hold what you were begging to hold, because what he's about to give you is so much greater that you just want to take two hands and squeeze it tight.
Wow.
Preaching, man.
Yeah.
Well
Cooking, bro.
I can tell you how many times I wouldn't even want to open up my Bible, because I feel like I'm the Pharisee, like I'm the guy that when God sees, he's like, yo, you love me with your lips, but you're so far away from me with your heart. And then you read me a letter that Paul wrote, and he was talking to God and how he says that he can't wait for death so he could separate himself from flesh. How can I explain to somebody that you're never going to be perfect? You're always going to fail God, but yet you're still going to be good enough to go to heaven. That, I understand the term of good news now, because like good news, you're a piece of garbage, yet you're still able to come here. How do I teach you to believe that when I can't even believe myself?
You bet. Good question. I'd like you to read Romans chapter 7, where the Apostle Paul says, the good that I want to do, I don't do. The evil that I don't want to do, I do. Wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? Thanks be to God through Jesus Christ.
There's one that I used to think that it's so okay that if you're with your boys and a hot girl walks by, if you have no intentions, if you look at, oh, look how hot that girl is. I used to stand up for that, but like, I didn't just start dating Belle and become gay. I used to defend this until recently. I'm with Charlie Kirk and we're talking about coveting. I didn't know the layers of coveting. I go, wait a second, why would I do that? It's because she's attractive. I shouldn't put my eyes to anything that I don't want my feet and heart to move towards.
Come on.
So if I do catch myself doing that, instead of preaching, well, you're not gay, bro, you're allowed to look, I should preach, hey man, you should have more discipline with your heart and eyes. Just because I know if this woman comes up to me and even tries anything, I wouldn't do anything. Why am I letting my eyes even go there? And I think this is the level of respect that I'm having. I'm too afraid of God. I'm too in love with my woman. Like, there's no woman on earth that could ever do this. So on a podcast, I want to say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thank
that
you.
was
Do you hear that? I'm so lucky.
You love your wife. At what point do you start taking advantage of her? Just because you have a ring on your finger, she's growing old, she has your kids, and now you're like, well, she's mine. She's not going to go anywhere.
That's so
but it's like,
whack.
whoa. She's not just yours. She's the Lord's. So like how you're respecting that gift, why would he want to give you anything else? And also it's like, how disrespectful are you that one day you would cry and be like, oh, I'm going to marry her. And just a few years later, you're taking advantage of the same gift that you used to cry. You're a bad person. Like you need to reflect and gather yourself. You know what I mean? It keeps you accountable.
For the men out there, get with God now.
Yeah.
So that you don't start acting crazy to your spouse, bro. Cause I'm tired of these stories, man. I'm so sick of it, bro. Hearing all this mess.
Yeah.
The way people's wives are getting treated and all, like, bro.
Do you ever see that meme where it's like a boss is yelling at the husband and then the husband yells at the wife and then the wife yells at the kid and then the kid yells at the cat? That shook me, bro. I looked at that and I was like, yo, that's so real, dude. That's such a
trickle-down
real
effect, bro.
Yeah, it's an energy. Not new age, but it's an energy, dude.
Well, I had to realize, like, bro, like, my mood, even with the music industry or things I go through, I had to remember, like, oh, shoot, this does affect my wife. Like, even if I think it's just me dealing with it, we're one. So she's dealing with everything I'm dealing with, and I'm dealing with everything she's dealing with. People forget that. It's not siloed. It's together. Yeah.
You reflect each other.
Yeah, you do. But how much more beautiful is it when your mind is on the spirit and you don't even realize you're impacting your spouse?
In the Bible, Jesus Christ is with his disciples and they're on a boat and the sea is roaring. The waves are crashing. The storm is over them. I'm talking like if we were on this boat, there isn't like how we're getting out of this. It's like, oh, we're dead. Jesus looks at the waves and he goes, shh, be still. And the water just goes so still that Jesus goes and he stands on the water. And he walks out and he's standing on the water. And then he says, Peter, come. And Peter's like us. He's like, what? I'm like, come up. So he comes, puts his feet out there, and he's standing on it. And then he comes closer, and he comes closer, and he comes closer. Then all of a sudden he hears like thunder or something where it sounds like a storm, or he's scared. He took his eyes off of Jesus for 1 second, and he sunk underwater. And Jesus was close enough to grab him and pull him out. We take our eyes off of Jesus for 2 seconds, and we're drowning. But the moment he took himself away from Jesus is when he put himself in fear. And he drowned. But he put him back to God. He's breathing. So what I tell people is, if you're in a storm, amazing. It sucks, but why not stand on top of the storm with your God? And the only way you could do that is by having your eyes focused on God. Not on your surroundings, not on your fears, not on your doubts, not on how you're going to get. No. He is the way, he is the truth, he is the light. I'm going to fixate my eyes on you because when your hand was out, you could carry me out of this. This is a quote that I run with now. Whatever you run to in your crisis is where your Christ is. When people get scared of losing their job, or they get scared of losing their promotion, or they get scared of all this stuff, they start worshiping what they fear. And that's why God says, fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. There was a Bible verse that scared me more than anything in the world. So Jesus is now preaching as God. So a lot of people are like, whoa. And he says, many will come to me in the day of judgment and says, Lord, Lord, have I not prophesied in your name? Have I not casted out demons in your name? And he says, be away from me. I never knew you. And that paralyzed me. Why did those people get casted away from God? Because when they presented themselves in front of God, they said, look what I did. I did this. I did this. The whole reference is you're not good enough to go into heaven. It's sheerly off of the fact that God died for your sins, making him the only true reason on why you're going into heaven. This became my favorite Bible verse because now I know my good works aren't what gets me into heaven, right? Truly, I could say to somebody, when somebody goes, you only do this to get into heaven, I would go, no, my friend. Nothing I do on earth will ever be good enough for me to go into heaven. It is only because Christ died on the cross for my sins that gives me the privilege into walking into the kingdom. So my scariest Bible verse became my favorite Bible verse. It was just with my mentor. He's very, very blessed. And on his properties are many, many acres. And he took me to the part of his ranch where he has a bunch of sheep, and he put me with a bunch of lamb, and I was playing with this lamb, and he was reciting Bible verses to me. The Bible really jumped out, and I was like, man, these words, they have so much weight to them when you put them to the test. And I think a lot of people read them and they don't put them to the test. Jesus is called the Lamb of Man because when they crucified him, he didn't fight them. So he goes, if you grab this lamb right now to cut it, the lamb will not fight you. And you look at the lamb's eyes while you're putting the blade to its neck, and it's so loving to you that it's willingly giving its life to you. And it's just like, man, like when I really take this book and I put it to its test and I test it, if I test your words when we're in a relationship and I could break it, I'd be like, look, he's lying to me. Look what he's saying. But you're telling me it's been 2,000 years and all these atheists and all these scientists and all these people are trying to take God's words and break it, but they can't. So I step up to the plate and I'm like, well, let me see if this God's real. And I put his words to the test. That to me was where I was like, oh man, like he's real.